you've been campaigning with the vice president to woo Republicans, specifically Republican women, telling them, quote, you can vote your conscience and never have to say a word to anybody. Now, some conservative men are furious about this. Are you surprised that this has caused such a reaction? And what do you make of the idea that voting in your own self-interest could be a betrayal of your husband? Will women save the day this election?
Well, number one, yes, women are going to save the day in this election. I really believe that. And every time you see people like Charlie Kirk or Donald Trump, those people come out and act as though they're somehow horrified that, you know, a woman might make her own decision about how she's going to vote. I mean, this stuff, it's like, are we really in 2024?
Newt Gingrich said you shouldn't lie to your spouse.
I mean, really?
And also the hypocrisy of lying to your spouse versus lying to a country about election results doesn't seem to track.
I didn't know that husbands got 2 votes instead of 1.
Exactly.
Well, and I mean, like some of they have actually, you know, talked about repealing the 19th Amendment. Some of those people working for Donald Trump. So people
hell no.
people need to really remember the misogynist aspect of all of this.
Well, what were you thinking when Trump said last week that he was going to help women whether they like it or not?
Yeah, I have a better idea. Let's defeat Donald Trump tomorrow, whether he likes it or not.
Liz, you and I are both anti-abortion. So for the female voter at home who believes that abortion is murder and abortion is wrong, how do you convince them to put those convictions aside, vote for the vice president? Is it that we have to separate abortion from women's reproductive health freedoms, or is it an argument church versus state? You know, what are we...
Yeah,
what's the argument?
I don't think that you have to put those convictions aside. I'm pro-life, and what I have seen happen around the country, what we've all seen happen in states like Texas, for example, where the laws that the state legislatures have passed are so draconian that women are not even able to get fundamental basic health care. I mean, women who may be having a miscarriage, for example, and can't get emergency treatment, women who lose their ability to have babies in the future, or who end up in sepsis, and in some cases even have died. And so I think all of us have to acknowledge and recognize that being pro-life does not mean that you support the absolutely draconian restrictions that have been put in place. And
because life is at stake.
Life is at stake. And look, I mean, the Attorney General of Texas literally is suing so that he can get access to women's health records. Like, that's what we have to stand against. And so absolutely, I know that Vice President Harris will protect women's health care. I mean, Donald Trump says he's going to put Bobby Kennedy Jr. in charge of women's health care. I mean, like, we don't have enough time on this show to go through that.
The worm will be the undersecretary.
Right. So but I also think that it's important for people to realize you cannot count on Donald Trump. So if people are thinking that they're going to vote for him because they believe that somehow he is pro-life, Donald Trump is for Donald Trump. He will do whatever he needs to do. So I think that decision for me is a clear one.
So Liz, one of the last times I spoke to Kamala Harris, she asked me if I knew you. And she told me how impressive she found you after spending time with you. And I agree. You and I may disagree on some policy issues, but you are a woman of substance, and you have got the backbone of men. So I'm wondering, what, after spending time with her, what has surprised you about her, and what have you learned about her as a woman, as a leader, as a human?
Well, I think, it's really taught me a lesson that I've had the chance to learn so many times, especially since January 6th, which is we engage in partisan battles and partisan attacks and sort of tend to immediately criticize somebody who's on the other side of the aisle from us. And I think that for all of us, I know for me, spending time with her, it's been a real chance to say, wait a second, like, we really need to take a step back and recognize that we share much more than divides us. And I just, as I said, she is somebody, when you look at her career, when you look at the extent to which she has been devoted her whole career to public service. And I'm very impressed with her.
Very well said.
Well, I have to ask, I have fears. I think many people have fears of history repeating itself. So if Kamala Harris wins, do you think we should anticipate another Stop the Steal effort? What could that look like? How can we be ready? What do you expect?
Yeah, I think everybody across this country has to be aware that the Trump campaign has already begun. Pushing notions about rigged elections, stolen elections, fraudulent claims. Everybody's got to be aware that they're going to do it. We're in a much better place at the local level to help defend against those fraudulent claims, but people just need to be aware that it's happening. And look, you're going to see Donald Trump continue to melt down. And women across the country, actually, many women knew, when you see him completely lose it because his microphone doesn't work. And then, by the way, nobody's talked much about the fact that he said it was hard for him to hold up the microphone.
Yeah.
Like, really? That's stressing you out. So I think people just need to prepare themselves for what he's going to do, and know that there are far more Americans who want our system to succeed than those who want it to fail.
Do you think Speaker Johnson will do the right thing?
No,
No.
he won't. And I think that's why it's so important that the Republicans not be in the majority come January of 2025.
And so I have a question. Are you also a lawyer?
I am.
So you could conceivably be a great AG if this was. Because, and I say this because your moral core is magnificent. And I know you probably don't want it, you don't want to think about it, but I just feel like I would feel a lot better with you leading the FBI, the CIA, the NBC, the LMNT, everybody. That's just me. So I'm just saying, should it be floated? Please think about it.
And under the radar.
We have to get Vice President Harris elected tomorrow.
Yes.
It's really like
Well, you know,
that's
I'm being.
You're putting it out there in the universe.
I'm putting it in the universe
Manifest.
because that's how we do things. Go
Well,
ahead,
and real
baby.
quickly,
I'm sorry.
tomorrow's the day most people will head to the polls.
Yes.
Is there anything you're going to be looking for?
Yeah, I think that, you know, there'll be some key counties that we'll watch early. I think, again, what we have seen so far in terms of the women, the Iowa poll, for example, women showing up to vote for Vice President Harris, the women are going to save this republic. So get out and vote. We have to get through tomorrow.
That's women. That's women. Black women, white women, Republicans, Democrats, independents. It's women. We're talking to women. And we are.
Well, and men. All those folks can vote too.
But it's important that women know that we're talking to all women, not just one side or the other. All women are invited to this party. We need you. And all men, but we really need you women. And we needed you, and we still need you, and we thank you, Ms. Cheney. We will see what happens, and I hope we get to have you back to talk about it.
Look forward to it.